welcome to Cavan TV News and Views. Well, here we are today outside Aldi on Dublin Road, Cavan, the scene of an IFA protest. To tell me all about it is Patrick McCormick, who is the Monaghan chairperson of the IFA. This is a very well organised protest, and you've had an impact on the store in there. But for ye, Patrick, this has been a long, hard-fought battle. Tell us exactly all about it.
Look at Anya, we're here today out of desperation, so we are. We don't want to be here. We've all got farms at home, we've all got jobs to do, we've work to do. The last place we want to be is here. However, to ensure our very survival, that's why we're here.
Yeah. So your fight is with the discounter stores like Lidl and Aldi, who are offering food at a much less price, and then in turn the reaction is from the other stores like Dunnes Stores and Tesco and whatever to price match, so it keeps your price down. Tell me your battle.
Look, it's a race to the bottom with the discounters. Since the discounters have come into this country, they have consistently dragged the price of food down. Now, we do not begrudge the consumer cheap food. We want them to have quality food, Board B approved food, and we want them to have good value. However, Anya, not at the expense of the farmer. We want to be able to continue to produce that food, but at the prices we are being paid, we will not be able to survive. And all we're here today for is fractions on the price. We're not even asking for the price of food to go up. We believe that there's enough margin or enough in the margin to share it more equally to the farmer. Would you believe it, today what we are here for and what we're going to stay here for, and we will not move until we get it, is 2 cents per egg.
You're talking fractions. You're speaking as well. You were speaking about we were talking about the chicken earlier. What do you want on a chicken?
Look, I myself am a chicken farmer. What we've asked for it way back, believe it or not, prior to the war, prior to the increases, and it's ongoing. We've asked for 15 cents per chicken. We've got 11.5 of that. We need the rest of it. Look at them few cents, 3.5 cents a chicken will ensure our survival. But if we don't get it, unfortunately, we will not be able, facing into the winter time, to pay the gas and the electricity bills. We know all the consumers are having a hard time of it. It's going to be a very expensive winter. But you multiply that up to the amount of gas and the electricity we use to heat huge, large sheds. It's massive. But those few cents on a chicken will ensure that survival.
Yeah.
Of that.
How do you feel the budget did it go anywhere in your favour?
Believe it or not, we got quite a shock in the budget. We're all unregistered VAT farmers, and the amount of VAT that we can reclaim is actually reduced by 0.5%, and 0.5%, albeit it might seem very, very little on every chicken, it's another couple of cents. And those cents all add up.
So for today, your battle has started on Thursday, and you've been sitting here day and night since, and you're holding out, and you want your 2 cents on an egg. That's what the result you want from the discounters today.
We want the discounters to talk to us. We want
them to talk to you.
We don't deal with the discounters. We deal with our chicken processors. We deal with our egg packers. They negotiate directly with the discounters. So all we're doing is we're making our point that in the course of those negotiations that there'll be a small share allocated to the farmer. And we want the discounters, we want the Aldis and the Lidls to come here to Cavan, where we are, come here and meet with the IFA, meet with the representatives and talk to us and listen to us and give a commitment that in the course of their negotiations with egg packers and with poultry processors, and indeed with the pig processors too, let us not forget the pig sector, we're representing them here today also, and they're also hard pressed, just that they will give the retailers will give us, the IFA, a commitment that they will recognise that those fractions that we need to. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you to Patrick McCormick, Monaghan chairperson of the IFA. And with me now of egg producers from Lavi and Stradone here in Cavan, Samantha Soden and Brendan Soden, a family business, egg producers. Brendan, the business of producing eggs as it is at the moment, tell us about it.
Business has become extremely difficult as the rising costs with everything about feed and energy costs especially are driving things on that is leaving us in the situation now where we are no longer making money. We're showing a deficit on Teagasc figures, and we're here today at Aldi again. We're looking for a very simple ask, looking for 2 cents an egg. These talks have been going on for the last 3 months, and the request and seems to be falling on deaf ears, and nobody wants to help us at the minute. So that's why we're continuing our protest here at the minute.
So let's talk about figures, Brendan. To talk about the cost of production, how are you faring out that way? Are you actually covering the cost of production at all?
No, we've gone below the cost of production. Due to the energy rising and that, bills have doubled, feed has doubled, birds, replacement birds and so on, everything, like every other business we are facing the same challenges. But it is the fact that we cannot continue to keep producing food for cheaper or for less than it takes to produce. And
can I ask the question, what is the straw now at this stage if you don't get your 2 cents per egg? What is the straw that will break the camel's back?
Well, if we don't get some resolve to this, we will be forced out of business. There's already farmers looking at closing down sheds. I'm already looking myself. Next month we close down a shed because we pay labour, we cannot afford the labour, and it is not worthwhile doing. So a lot of farmers are starting to look at that in a way that they have to do something because we don't want to get smothered in debt. So it is easier for us to say we won't just stop. And
I would say that the winter coming in now is a pretty scary time for you because we all know about the increase in electricity, and that's a main thing that's in your factory to keep.
That is one of the main things. If we give an example, last year our bills running on the farm were about 2,400 a month. This year at the moment we're looking at 6,000 a month, and we don't know in December where that will be. As everybody else, we don't know what price electricity is going to be a unit.
And to get to Samantha, and I'd like to say well done to Samantha. Samantha pitted the cause for your family business, and you pitted the cause for the family as the impact of all this is having on your family and your 3 children.
4 children.
4 children, sorry.
Between the ages of 8 and 12, they're finding this tough. They're actually here.
But they help you out on the farm.
Obviously. They do, and they're too young to be having to come over and help us to run our business. They're children. They're supposed to be having a good time, playing football, playing with their friends, doing kids stuff. But they're brilliant. Like, they'll come over in the weekend mornings and they'll pick eggs. And if they're stuck, if Brendan needs help, we go over and help him.
And you also made the point as well that both your parents help out on the farm as well.
Especially Brendan's father, like he's 77. He's with us every day. He's there every day, full time, 7 days a week. Hail, rain, snow, whatever, he's there. He shouldn't have to, but we can't afford to pay labour costs.
And you pitted the cause as well that farming, egg producing is 24/7, 365 days a year.
It's every day, even Christmas Day. We do. Christmas morning our routine is pretty much Happy Christmas, open a present or two, go over and pick eggs because it has to be done. I
would say that most egg producers would be family run.
They are. Majority of them are small businesses. So
it has an impact on families all around. A lot of families.
That's it. A lot of farmers would have a certain number of birds, but they don't employ staff or can't afford to employ staff. So they do all themselves.
Okay. So what do you want to see out of today? You've been demonstrating here since Thursday. You've done round the clock, and you're holding out for 2 cents. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
We'd like to see an ombudsman and a regulator put in place as soon as possible, because there has to be somebody there to deal with these issues, and they have to be given some sort of enforcement powers to help primary producers continue in business, because that's what this is about. We won't be able to continue in business if this keeps happening again and again.
Okay. I'd like to say thank you to Samantha and Brendan Soden, egg producers in Lavi, Cavan. And here I have Frank Brady, and Frank, you are the
Regional Chairman for Ulster and North Leinster. I'm involved in 7 counties, and we started this protest a few days ago because we've been looking to discuss with Aldi for 2 cent an egg since the 15th of July. They refused to negotiate. They come back with a pittance offer early on this week. They come back with 12 cent, which is less than just over. It's 1 cent an egg. So that's where we're at. We will have to get money, we have to get a margin. If farmers don't get a margin, there's nothing for us to survive. We have to get a margin. And all the things going well, we will get a margin.
So you want to get into negotiations with the discount stores?
We want to get them to pay us a margin. We don't necessarily want the price of food to go up. We're looking for 2 cents an egg.
Yeah, because the consumer's back is against the wall here as well.
Yeah, consumer's back is totally against the wall. So what we're saying is, you take less of a margin for a change. Don't be always expecting the farmers to be below cost selling.
This is the stores you're talking.
This is the Aldi's and Lidl's of the Tesco's done stores.
So you don't necessarily, you want to make the point, you want your 2% rise per egg.
2 cents an egg.
2 cents an egg. But you don't want it necessarily passed on to the customer.
No.
You think they can take this rapidly?
Yeah, if we just take the pigs, the pig farmer gets paid 12% of the price of the pig. The chicken men get much the same with the price of a chicken, 40%. So there's a margin there that somebody is getting to supply the consumers, and we have to be seen to get a fair share of that margin. We've asked the Minister, we've asked Fianna Fáil, we've asked Fine Gael, we've asked them all to put in the Ombudsman, give them teeth, and yet we're still talking about when is he coming. It's supposed to be coming now, and now it's the end of the year now, so I don't know when he's coming. And we need something like that. These people have come in and they've taken over and they have driven down the cost of living because there's been no food inflation. When my mother was rearing me, she spent 46% of my father's wages, and at that time that's the way it was, my father's wages in buying food. My wife now spends about 12% of the wages on our family food, so that's where we're at. The food inflation has to go back up to the price it should be, and that's where we want it to be. But we don't want it at the expense of the consumer. We want it that everybody gets a fair margin.
Did you get anything out of the budget?
Not really, no. The 10 cent on the 10% on concrete. As somebody said the other day, why didn't they put that? We have to sort out the people in Donegal and all of those areas with the mica. So why didn't they put a little bit extra on the property tax? And it'll be across the board for everybody instead of penalising the young people who are going buying houses. I have a son that's going to be buying a house soon. I have children that age that will be buying houses, and now it's going to go up 3,000-4,000. So why not spread the thing and put it on the property tax? And I think nobody would have minded if there was 2%, 3% put on the property tax.
So you've been here since Thursday night, around the clock demonstration. Is there anything happening at the moment? Is the door of negotiation, is there anything happening?
It's a jar.
You've had, sorry for interrupting you there, but you've had an impact on the store. The shelves are practically bare in there. Yeah. Customers are coming out going like, you know, what's going on? Like, and explain, you know.
Yeah, Lidl is the same. But where we are, if we don't get any news, tomorrow night we're escalating it. We're going to a couple of more stores around the country. We're going to take it outside of this region, we're going to go outside the country, and that's what we have to do. They seem to think that they have a divine right to get all that they want, and we just fall into line and they tell us what to do, as they seem to be doing around the country.
So what do you want out of the immediate?
Immediate is 30 cent, with 24 cent of that being passed back to the egg producer.
Okay.
That's what we want.
Frank Brady, Regional Chairperson of the IFA. Thank you. I've had a word with some of the customers coming out of Aldi today, because I haven't been inside myself yet, but I hear that many of the shelves are bare because suppliers have not passed the picket since Thursday. And with me now is a customer. So are you aware of the plight? Were you aware of the demonstration today, what it's standing for?
I was indeed aware of the plight of the egg producer. They're demanding really a pittance to make it a sustainable living, and they deserve our support. And because it's not an easy industry to survive in, and they deserve all the support, especially from Irish customers.
Okay, but I'm going to say to you, from the point of a customer's point of view, this is a particularly hard time. The price of everything is rising, as you know, because of Brexit, because of the war, and because of the hike in fuel prices. Now, do you think customers can sustain taking price hikes in everything, even to basic thing like eggs?
But my honest opinion is that in all fairness to the farmer or the egg producer, they are on the breadline as well as their customers. And where do you draw the line between being able to survive in business to feed your family? It's a two-edged sword.
Okay.
And I honestly think that there's a lot of hype regarding the Ukrainian situation, which is very unfortunate. But I'd hate to say that it uses the sword against our local producers.
So you support the local farmer in this?
Definitely.
Okay,
we are
well,
from a rural area,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay, well done. Thank you for talking to us on Cavan TV. Thank you. So speaking to another customer outside Aldi today, and really and truly the shelves are bare?
The shelves are very bare, and it's probably disappointing to customers coming in, but they have to realise
Is it fair to the customers? Like, we are in a time of, like, I'm not going to say recession, but we're in a time of great price hikes. Everything's going up. Shopping in Lidl and Aldi is considered a little bit cheaper, so you're stopping the weekly shop perhaps.
Yes, but on the other hand, the farmers, the producers, the pig producers, chicken producers, egg producers, they are really looking for a very minimal amount of money. It is really a very, very small amount in light of the food. And when you're talking about eggs and chicken and bacon,
necessary
food, and first class Irish food, Irish produced, and at least these customers know and should appreciate this is all Irish food. And along with that, it is also keeping people in employment, apart from the value of the good food. And I think that has to be stressed.
Okay.
I think there's enough foreign food
I think that's what this demonstration is doing here today, is making people aware
of the value of Irish food.
So, as a customer, you are prepared to go that little bit further to produce Irish and to produce homegrown products?
Very much, very much, yes.
Okay.
And even with other Irish produced food, because there's always somebody else, like bakers and other people that produce other food, I would be very conscious of it being Irish and very conscious of supporting. And if these producers need an increase, however small or however large, I would be quite happy to see them.
Okay. Well, thank you.
It's just a pity that the battle is so prolonged to get this money. It is a very small amount on each end.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to us on Cavan TV. Thank you. And now to Roy Galley.
Yes, I'm the IFA's pig chairman, national pig chairman, and I'm here in support of the poultry because the pig situation is exactly the same as the poultry situation. The amount of money that comes from the consumer spend down to ourselves as primary producers is approximately 12%, which is far too small for us to actually pay for the increased feed that has been come to us now. So we're buying barley, wheat, soya, maize. A lot of it comes from Ukraine, or the knock-on effect of not having it come from Ukraine, because when Vladimir Putin attacked the world renowned food basket of Ukraine, which does feed an awful lot of people, we're affected directly. So the costs of our production have gone up enormously. They've over doubled. In fact, the food inflation, I think, is at 40% altogether, or agri-inflation is at 40% altogether, but we specific have gone up. It's doubled on our feed costs and it's trebled on our electricity costs. So we're not able to make our ends meet at this stage at pig farm level. Equally, the poultry guys are not able to meet it at their level, or the chickens either.
So what do you see as a solution to this problem?
Now, the solution I see is that there has to be some, could I put it this way, manners put on the whole food chain and the distribution of the consumer's spend, because she's coming in and she's making valid choices, and she shops here with Aldi because they offer good value, and that's absolutely perfectly correct in this sort of time when food inflation is quite high. But what we've got now is that is not coming down to the primary producer. We've been left out of this equation completely.
So how will a regulator look after this?
The regulator, I say, has to examine where the money goes to, who's making what profits, and then look for a fair distribution of those profits, because they're definitely coming in at one side of it, but they're not coming down in sufficient quantities to our level.
How long do you think before this actually happens?
Oh crikey! Now you're talking. You're into politics, if you like, and you're into trying to get what is common sense. If the farmer's
back is against the wall, and I've spoken to egg producers, and they say their back is against the wall, that the hair that splits the camel back can happen at any time. This winter is crunch. How long is this going to take for this to happen?
At the moment, farmers are going to be getting out of production if nothing happens. And that is going to mean that there's going to be a scarcity on the shelves of your supermarkets. As we all know, the supply and demand situation is such that when you have a decrease in supply, then you're going to have an increase in price. So that at the moment is the only way we're going to get a price rise coming through to us in sufficient quantities, is for there to be scarcity. And so what we've shown in here today is what scarcity is really like.
You've had an impact today. I believe this. I haven't been in, as I said before, but the shelves are pretty scarce.
I would suggest
disappointed shoppers coming out.
Shoppers have been hugely supportive of us.
But they're disappointed at the same. They can't get their weekly shopping at Aldi prices. And as you know, there is price increases going on everywhere at the moment.
Absolutely.
Everybody's pinned to the wall.
Everybody is pinned to the wall. When I used this example of it the other day to say that actually what we're doing is we're paying Aldi to put our pigs on the shelves. And if that cannot go on, we need to get, if you like, enough at least to cover the cost of production. And I'm only looking for the cost of production now. There's no profits involved.
Somebody earlier was talking in percent or fractions. What are you looking for immediately?
I'm looking for a 10 cents per kilo rise in the pig price for us, which will bring me to break even, just to break even.
But surely they'll pass that on to the customer. Thus the hard-pressed customer.
I don't believe this is the case. There are considerable profits being built up across the food chain before it gets to the farmer. We are price givers and price takers. As a result, all the margins that are being squeezed above the food chain come down ultimately to the weakest link, and unfortunately that is the farmer.
Okay, you've had your impact here today. How long do you think you can keep this going?
We will keep this going until we get for this one, and we are the supporters of the egg industry, that we're looking for 2 cent an egg. 2 cent an egg, 24 cent a dozen for the egg producer, and then we will start to negotiate as pig farmers exactly the same. That we want to make sure that enough comes back to us as well as pigs, and poultry will do the same.
Okay, I think I asked the question earlier on to another person I interviewed. Is there any negotiation, any light, anything at the moment?
At the moment, yes, there is light in that they do want to talk to us. And that is most important. And I think
at this very moment.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're not here today because it's the weekend today. So I imagine things will start on Monday.
Well, you're on 24 hours.
We are. We operate 24
right?
hours. Not everybody does 24 hours, if you like. And certainly the people who will be coming down to negotiate. So everybody is sitting at the moment, and we're looking for people to actually come down here and do some real engagement with us, and actually be able to deliver at least the cost of production to the farmer.
Well done. Well, thank you to Roy Galley for speaking to us on Cavan TV today. And as you say, you're going to sit it out.
We are going to sit it out, yes.
Thank you. And now, welcome to Tim Cavan, President of the IFA. Big support here today in Cavan for this demonstration. And I have here a book of signatures, of hundreds of signatures of people who have supported the farmers' cause here today.
Yeah, and it's great to see so many people out supporting the cause of the poultry farmers in particular here this evening in Cavan. And rightly so, as you say, it's great to see the support of the consumer here as well. Because what this is about is these lads are out here, they're looking for an increase of 2 cent per egg or 24 cent a dozen. Like, it's incredible in this day and age that producers or farmers have to come out and protest in front of retailers. The lads are here now for the last few days, and that the retailers just cannot see common sense and come out here, negotiate and give the lads, they're rightly what they're entitled to is a decent price of what they're producing. And I think the Minister has a role to play here as well.
Have you been in contact with them recently?
Well, we haven't been in contact yet, because normally in these situations, it's the retailer will contact ourselves. I've had no contact with either Aldi or Lidl on this occasion. But obviously we're waiting to see what will come from the retailer. But they know the position. They know that farmers need at least to get an extra 24 cent a dozen to be able to survive. And this is only about surviving. We all know what we're dealing with egg inflation at the moment, running at 40%. Feed inflation over the last 6 months is running at over 100%. And these farmers are trying to continue to produce eggs at the below the cost of production. It cannot continue, and the retailers have to come to the table and give a decent price to these farmers. I just want to say about the Minister as well. This legislation now has been going through the door for quite a while. It's at pre-legislative scrutiny level at the moment. And the sooner that we have this legislation, and for once...
What legislation are you talking about? An ombudsman or a regulator? What are you talking about?
An ombudsman, but also a regulator. And we need somebody with powers that can adjudicate.
Well, I was speaking to some of the farmers and the egg producers earlier, and they are at dire straits at the moment. That kind of an outcome will take a long time to get into action.
Absolutely. This is the twofold approach here. What needs to happen immediately is the retailers need to come to the table, give a price increase to the farmers, but to protect the farmers into the future, we need the legislation.
That's long term. That's a long term fix.
Of course it is, but no, it needs to come sooner rather than later now.
Yes.
We need this legislation.
But we do know that legislation takes a long time.
I know, but this has been going on around, particularly the vulnerable sectors, around the pig, the poultry, even in the supplying beef to retailers, using and fresh milk is another one, using farm produce. Well,
you do know now that
this has been going on for years.
The shelves in Aldi are stripped of all that kind of produce right at this moment.
Absolutely.
That impacts the cost. That impacts the consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. And our lads do not want to be here impacting on the consumer. As you pointed out yourself, the consumers are supporting what our farmers are doing here. And what people need to remember as well, for every euro that a farmer spends in the local economy, that generates €4 in the economy.
Okay.
So like you take counties like we're here in County Cavan and Cavan Monaghan area where there's a lot of poultry producers. Like those people are employing people in the areas. It's not just the farmer. And this is very important to the survival of rural Ireland.
Do you
like
think
towns like Cavan and Monaghan.
Do you think, as you say, most of the producers Cavan is predominantly egg producers and poultry producers and pig producers as well. We're well known for that. Do you think this will escalate? This demonstration will escalate?
Look,
does it need to escalate?
No, there's no need for an escalation. What we need is common sense needs to prevail here, and we need contact from Aldi and from Lidl, and this.
But you didn't contact them.
No, but I mean, we don't. I mean, it's they are creating the problem. We're not the ones that can give the increase. They are the retailers can give a price increase back to the packers, which in turn will come back to the primary producer.
But they probably will hit the consumers with the price increase.
No, this is about the market share. My understanding is a dozen of eggs is retailing at $1.89 in this store, is my understanding from the people that are here. That's what they're telling me. So all we're asking for is another 24 cents from that, and there's still adequate margin there for retailer. All that happens here is the packer brings in the eggs into the store, puts them on the shelf. All the retailer has to do is sell those off the shelf. They don't even have to handle it.
Okay, so everybody is facing into an uncertain future. We've got food inflation, we've got fuel inflation, everything's inflation. Okay, so if you were to give farmers, producers and farmers and pig farmers any gleam of hope for the winter, what is on the cards? What's going to help them this winter?
What's going to help is, well, you're right, if we look at it, and we're looking at egg inflation running at 40%. The general...
Give them some hope.
No, but the general consumer inflation is running at 10%. So there's a massive gap there. So we're experiencing the cost increase. So what needs to happen here is everybody needs to look at their margin along the food supply chain. We're not here saying we want dearer food for the consumer. What we're saying is we want a fairer share of the overall price coming back to the primary producer, because what's going to happen here is if that doesn't happen, well then our producers are going to go out of business.
Okay,
and what we'll
I'm
be doing
asking
is, but what will happen then is we'll be relying on imports, and all of the people in this county that's providing jobs and livelihoods to the general community will go out of business.
Yeah. So is there any glimpse of hope for the farmer? Can you give them anything at this time?
Of course we can give them a glimpse of hope.
What are you going to tell them?
What you need to do is sit down.
What do you say to them now?
But what I'm saying,
their backs are against the wall.
But what I'm saying clearly.
What are you doing for them?
Yeah, but what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the retailer to come forward, and we negotiate a deal that is adequate to ensure that these people can stay in business. That's what we have to do.
Thank you very much, Tim Cavan, for talking to us on Cavan TV's News and Views. Thank you.
Very much.
Well, here we are on a wet and windy Saturday outside Aldi on Dublin Road, Cavan. We've spoken to the farmers and to the egg producers. They say they're out for the long haul. Well, we do hope that they get a respectable result for this demonstration. Thank you for watching us on Cavan TV's and Irish Web TV's News and Views.